The sound of a child's laughter filled the rusty Honda Civic as Ian Callahan drove through the rain-soaked streets, his fuel gauge hovering dangerously close to empty. At 32, Ian's weathered face told the story of a man who had endured more than his share of hardship, but the smile he wore for his 6-year-old daughter Lily was genuine and warm. "Daddy, are we going to make it?" Lily asked from her booster seat, clutching her well-loved stuffed rabbit. "Of course we are, Pumpkin," Ian reassured her, though the orange warning light on his dashboard suggested otherwise. "Just a little bit further to the gas station, and then we'll head home for mac and cheese night." The rain pounded harder as Ian pulled into the gas and go, his last $20 burning a hole in his pocket. This would have to last until payday on Friday, 3 days away. He parked under the fluorescent lights of the station and turned to Lily. "Stay put, okay? I'll be quick." Ian stepped out into the downpour, his worn work boots splashing through puddles as he made his way to the pump. Construction work had been scarce lately, and being a single father didn't make things easier. His ex-wife had walked out 4 years ago, leaving him to raise Lily alone. It was tough, but he wouldn't trade his daughter for anything. As he started pumping gas, carefully watching the digits to make sure he didn't go over his budget, he noticed a sleek black Tesla at the adjacent pump. A woman stood beside it, frustration evident on her face as she struggled with the gas pump. Ian hesitated. He didn't have time to waste. Lily was waiting in the car, but something about the woman's evident distress made him pause. With a sigh, he secured his own pump and approached her. "Excuse me, madam, need some help?" he called over the drumming of the rain. The woman turned, and Ian felt a jolt of surprise. Despite being soaked to the skin, she was strikingly beautiful, with intelligent green eyes and dark blonde hair plastered to her elegant face. Her clothes were simple, but clearly expensive, a cashmere sweater and tailored pants now clinging to her frame. "I cannot believe this," she said, gesturing to the Tesla. "I borrowed my assistant's car because mine is in the shop, and I have absolutely no idea how to charge this thing. I thought I could just fill it with gas like my Aston Martin." Ian couldn't help but smile. "Well, that's your first problem. This is an electric car. It doesn't take gas." The woman's expression shifted from frustration to embarrassment. "Oh, that makes sense." She laughed suddenly, a rich, genuine sound that seemed to cut through the dreary weather. "I'm usually much more competent than this, I promise." "I believe you," Ian said, charmed despite himself. "There should be a charging station around here somewhere. Let me check." "Thank you," she said, extending her hand. "I'm Emma Northcott." "Ian Callahan," he replied, shaking her hand briefly before pointing to a corner of the lot. "Look, there's a charging station over there. I can help you get set up." "Daddy," Lily's voice called out. She had rolled down the window of the Civic and was peering out with concern. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Lily pad. "Just helping this lady. I'll be right there." Emma glanced at the old Civic, her expression softening at the sight of the little girl. "Oh, I'm so sorry." "You have your daughter waiting. Please don't trouble yourself." "It's no trouble," Ian assured her, waving to Lily. "Just be right back, Pumpkin," he turned back to Emma. "Let me just finish putting my gas in, and I'll help you move over to the charging station." After quickly filling his tank with the carefully counted $20, Ian helped Emma maneuver the Tesla to the charging station. As they walked, she asked about Lily, and Ian found himself sharing more than he intended about being a single dad and the challenges of balancing work and parenthood. "She's my whole world," he explained, helping Emma connect the charging cable. "Everything I do is for her." Emma's eyes were thoughtful as she watched him work. "That's beautiful. Not everyone would sacrifice so much for their child," Ian shrugged. "It's not a sacrifice when it's for someone you love." Once the Tesla was charging, Emma insisted on buying coffee for both Ian and hot chocolate for Lily from the station's convenience store. They sat in Ian's Civic, sheltered from the rain, as Lily happily sipped her treat. "You're pretty," Lily declared to Emma, chocolate mustache adorning her upper lip. "And you have a space car," Emma laughed, the sound filling the small car with warmth. "Thank you, Lily. It's not actually my car, though, and I think you're pretty too." Ian watched the interaction, struck by how at ease this clearly wealthy woman seemed in his beat-up car, chatting with his daughter as if they were old friends. "So what do you do, Emma?" Ian asked, curious about the woman who drove an Aston Martin. Emma hesitated. "I run a company," she said simply. "Technology and sustainable energy solutions." "Cool," Lily exclaimed. "Do you make robots?" "Some of our divisions work with robotics, yes," Emma smiled. "What about your dad? What does he do?" "Daddy builds things," Lily said proudly. "Big things like houses and buildings. He can fix anything." Ian felt his cheeks warm. "Construction management," he clarified, "though work's been a bit slow lately." They talked until Emma's phone chimed, indicating the car had sufficient charge. Ian helped disconnect the charger, and they stood in the lessening rain, an unexpected reluctance to part ways hanging in the air. "Thank you for your help," Emma said sincerely. "Most people wouldn't have bothered." "Anytime," Ian replied. "Glad I could help." Emma reached into her purse, pulling out a business card. "If you ever need anything, or if you'd just like to grab coffee sometime." Ian accepted the card, noticing only the name E. Northcott and a phone number. No company name, no title. "Thanks, maybe I will." As Emma drove away in the Tesla, Lily waved enthusiastically from the Civic. "I liked her, Daddy. She was nice." "Yeah," Ian agreed, tucking the card into his wallet. "She was." That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Ian found himself staring at Emma's card. Something about her had gotten under his skin, her laugh, the way she had talked to Lily, the genuine warmth in her eyes. But women like her didn't date men like him. Their worlds were too different. Still, he couldn't help himself. He sent a simple text. "Thanks again for the coffee. This is Ian from the gas station." To his surprise, she replied almost immediately. "Thank you for rescuing me. I'd love to properly thank you with dinner. You and Lily." And just like that, Ian found himself agreeing to meet Emma that weekend at a family-friendly restaurant she recommended. Saturday evening found Ian and Lily waiting nervously outside Casello's, a cozy Italian restaurant that was nicer than anywhere they typically ate. Lily wore her best dress, and Ian had dug out the one good button-down shirt he owned from the back of his closet. "Do I look pretty, Daddy?" Lily asked, twirling to show off her slightly faded blue dress. "The prettiest girl in the world," Ian assured her, adjusting his collar one last time. Emma arrived precisely on time, stepping out of a rideshare car rather than the flashy vehicle Ian had half expected. She wore a simple green dress that matched her eyes, and her smile when she spotted them was genuine and warm. "You both look wonderful," she greeted them, bending down to Lily's level. "I love your dress, Lily. Blue is my favorite color too." Dinner was surprisingly comfortable. Emma had requested a corner booth where Lily could color on the paper tablecloth when she grew restless. She asked thoughtful questions about Lily's school and Ian's work, sharing little about herself, except that she had grown up in a small town before moving to the city for college. "I never planned to stay," she explained, twirling pasta around her fork. "But opportunities kept presenting themselves, and before I knew it, 15 years had passed." "Do you like your job?" Ian asked. "Running your company," Emma considered this. "I love the work itself, creating solutions, seeing ideas become reality. The business side is complicated. People often have expectations about who I am based on what I do." "Is that why you didn't tell us the name of your company?" Ian asked, catching Lily's spilled water with a napkin before it could drip onto her lap. Emma smiled, a hint of relief in her expression. "Perceptive. Yes, partly. I enjoyed just being Emma with you two, not defined by my work." After dinner, they walked to a nearby ice cream parlor, Lily skipping between them. As they sat eating their cones, Lily regaled Emma with stories about her first-grade class and her best friend Zoe. And then Miss Peterson said I was the best reader in the whole class, Lily finished proudly, chocolate ice cream smeared across her cheek. "That's wonderful," Emma said sincerely, handing Lily a napkin. "I loved reading when I was your age too." Ian watched them, something warm unfurling in his chest. Emma treated Lily with genuine interest, not the condescending attention some adults showed to children. She listened attentively, asked questions, and clearly delighted in Lily's animated responses. When the evening ended, Emma surprised them by presenting Lily with a children's book. "This was my favorite when I was about your age," she explained as Lily's eyes widened with excitement. "Thank you." Lily exclaimed, throwing her arms around Emma's waist in an impulsive hug. Ian watched Emma's startled expression soften as she carefully returned the hug. "You're very welcome, Lily." As they said goodbye, Emma turned to Ian. "I had a wonderful time." "So did we," Ian replied, meaning it. "Maybe we could do it again sometime." "I'd like that very much," Emma said, her smile reaching her eyes. Over the next few weeks, Emma became a regular fixture in their lives. She joined them for movies in the park, helped Lily with a science project, and even attended her school play. Ian found himself looking forward to their time together, even as he wondered what a successful businesswoman saw in spending time with him and his daughter. One rainy Sunday afternoon, while Lily napped after an exciting morning at the Children's Museum with Emma, Ian finally voiced the question that had been nagging at him. "Emma, don't take this the wrong way, but why us? You could be spending your free time with anyone. I'm sure you have plenty of friends in your social circle who are more compatible." Emma set down her coffee mug, considering him thoughtfully. "Compatible how? Because they have money, because they run companies." "Well, yes," Ian admitted. "I've seen your clothes, your watch. You clearly do very well for yourself. And here I am, scraping by paycheck to paycheck, living in a 2-bedroom apartment and driving a car that's older than my daughter." "And you think those things matter to me?" Emma asked quietly. "I think they matter to most people." Emma was silent for a long moment. "The day we met, you helped a stranger in the rain when you had every reason to just mind your own business. You were kind without expecting anything in return. Do you know how rare that is in my world?" She leaned forward, her gaze intense. "I spend my days surrounded by people who want something from me: my money, my connections, my influence. With you and Lily, I'm just Emma, not a business connection or a potential investor, just a woman who didn't know how to charge a Tesla." Ian felt something shift between them, a new understanding taking root. "Well, for what it's worth, I like just Emma very much." Her smile was soft. "Good, because just Emma likes you too." As autumn turned to winter, their relationship deepened. Emma joined them for Thanksgiving dinner in Ian's modest apartment, bringing dessert and helping Lily make handprint turkeys out of construction paper. She seemed genuinely content in their simple life, though Ian still felt occasional twinges of discomfort when he noticed the contrast between her designer boots and his second-hand furniture. One evening in early December, Emma invited them to her place for the first time. As they drove to the address she provided, Ian felt his anxiety mounting. He had pictured her living in a luxury high-rise downtown and wasn't sure how he would explain such opulence to Lily, or how he would fit into a life so different from his own. To his surprise, the GPS led them to a renovated brownstone in a pleasant but unpretentious neighborhood. The interior was tastefully decorated but comfortable, with books lining the walls and photographs of landscapes from around the world. It was larger than his apartment, certainly, but nothing like the mansion he had half feared. "This is really nice," he told Emma as Lily explored the living room, exclaiming over a terrarium containing a small ecosystem. "Not what I expected, though." Emma handed him a glass of wine. "What did you expect? A penthouse with a helipad?" Ian laughed. "Something like that, I guess." "I have a place downtown for business," she admitted, "but this is home. I prefer to live simply." After dinner, Emma helped Lily build a blanket fort in the living room, and they all squeezed inside to read stories by flashlight. When Lily eventually fell asleep, Ian carefully carried her to the guest room Emma had prepared, tucking her in beside her stuffed rabbit. When he returned to the living room, Emma was sitting on the couch, a serious expression on her face. "Ian, there's something I need to tell you." Ian felt a surge of apprehension as he sat beside her. "That sounds ominous." "It's not, at least I hope it's not." Emma took a deep breath. "I haven't been entirely forthcoming about my work. The company I run, it's Northcott Innovations." Ian stared at her blankly. "You haven't heard of it. Should I have?" Emma's laugh held a note of disbelief. "Most people have. We're one of the largest clean energy and technology corporations in the country. We went public 5 years ago, and she hesitated. "I'm worth quite a bit of money, Ian, significantly more than I've let on." "Define quite a bit," Ian said carefully. "Billions," Emma replied simply. I'm what the financial press calls a billionaire, though most of it is tied up in company shares. Ian felt as though the floor had dropped away beneath him. Billions, he repeated numbly, as in thousands of millions. Yes. And you've been eating pizza on my second-hand couch and helping Lily with her homework. Yes, Emma said, watching him closely, because I enjoy those things. I enjoy being with you both. Ian ran a hand through his hair, trying to process this information. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because people change when they know, Emma said quietly. They see the money, not me. They either want something or they pull away, assuming I couldn't possibly understand their lives. She reached for his hand. I wanted you to know me, not my net worth. Ian was silent, digesting her words. He thought about all the times Emma had seemed genuinely happy in their modest life, laughing over board games at his kitchen table, cheering at Lily's soccer games, falling asleep on his shoulder during movie nights. None of it had been an act. He knew her well enough now to be certain of that. I understand why you waited, he said finally, but I need some time to process this. Of course, Emma said, though he could see the worry in her eyes. The next day, as Ian picked up an extra weekend shift at the construction site, he found himself dwelling on Emma's revelation. The woman he had come to care deeply for, perhaps even love, was not just successful but one of the wealthiest people in the country. What did that mean for them? For Lily, his coworker Miguel noticed his distraction as they worked on framing a new office building. Woman trouble, he asked knowingly. Something like that, Ian admitted, hammering with perhaps more force than necessary. The pretty blonde who came to the company picnic. She seemed crazy about you, man. What's the problem? Ian hesitated, then decided a version of the truth was needed. Found out she's way more successful than I realized. Like, runs her own major company successful. Miguel whistled. And that's a problem because what could she possibly see in me? I'm a construction manager living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe she sees what everyone else sees, a good man who loves his kid and works hard, Miguel suggested. Not everyone is hung up on money and status, you know. Ian thought about Emma's words from the night before. I wanted you to know me, not my net worth. Wasn't that exactly what he had done, unknowingly? He had gotten to know the woman who laughed too loudly at cheesy jokes, who carried band-aids in her purse for Lily's scrapes, who could spend hours discussing books or music or ideas. The money didn't change who she was. That evening, he called Emma. Can we talk? They met at a quiet coffee shop midway between their homes. Emma looked nervous, fidgeting with her cup in a way he'd never seen before. I've been thinking about what you told me, Ian began. And I realized I've been a hypocrite, he admitted. I was worried you might judge me for not having money, but then I turned around and judged you for having it. Relief flooded Emma's face. I was so afraid I'd ruined everything. You didn't, Ian assured her. It was a shock, sure. But it doesn't change who you are or how I feel about you. He reached across the table for her hand. I care about you, Emma, not your bank account. I care about you too, she said softly. More than I can say. As Christmas approached, Emma became a constant presence in their lives. She helped Ian pick out a proper winter coat for Lily when his daughter outgrew her old one, tactfully handling the payment in a way that preserved his pride. She joined them for tree decorating and cookie baking, creating new traditions that blended seamlessly with the old. On Christmas Eve, after Lily had gone to bed vibrating with excitement about Santa's impending visit, Ian and Emma sat together on his couch, the room illuminated only by the lights of the Christmas tree. I have something for you, Emma said, handing him a small, wrapped box. We said we'd exchange gifts tomorrow with Lily, Ian reminded her, though he accepted the package. This one is just for you. Open it. Inside, Ian found a key. He looked at Emma questioningly. It's to my home, she explained. I want you to have it, to know you're welcome anytime. The significance of the gesture wasn't lost on Ian. Emma guarded her privacy carefully, a necessity given her wealth and position. This was a new level of trust. Thank you, he said, deeply moved. I have something for you too, actually. He retrieved a small gift from his bedroom and handed it to her, suddenly nervous. It's not much. Emma unwrapped it carefully to reveal a simple silver pendant in the shape of a book, with a tiny sapphire Lily's birthstone embedded in the cover. It's beautiful, she breathed. Lily helped me pick it out, Ian explained. The book is because of how you two always read together, and the sapphire is her birthstone, Emma finished, eyes shining with emotion. I love it. Will you put it on me? As Ian fastened the necklace around her neck, his fingers brushing against her skin, Emma turned to face him. Ian, these past months have been the happiest of my life. Mine too, he admitted. I never expected to find someone like you. Someone absurdly wealthy who doesn't know how to pump gas, she teased. Someone who sees me, he corrected, serious now. Who loves Lily? Who fits so perfectly into our lives that I can't imagine them without you anymore. Emma's breath caught. Are you saying? I'm saying I love you, Ian said simply. Money and all, though that's probably the least interesting thing about you. Emma laughed through sudden tears. I love you too, so much. Their first kiss was gentle, a promise of things to come. As Emma curled against him afterward, her head on his shoulder, Ian marveled at the twist of fate that had brought them together, a billionaire who needed help at a gas station, a struggling single father who stopped to offer assistance. What are you thinking? Emma asked, noticing his pensive expression. Just that life is unpredictable, he replied, brushing a strand of hair from her face. 6 months ago, I was worried about making rent. Now I'm falling in love with a billionaire. Emma smiled. And I'm falling in love with a construction worker who thinks $20 of gas will last 3 days. Hey, I budget carefully, he protested with a laugh. I know you do, she said, her expression softening. It's one of the things I admire about you, how you've created this wonderful, loving home for Lily on your own. You're an amazing father, Ian. Thank you, he said, touched by her words. That means a lot. Christmas morning was magical. Lily's delight at finding Emma there for present opening and pancake breakfast confirmed what Ian already knew: Emma had become essential to both their lives. As Lily proudly showed Emma the science kit Santa had brought, Ian realized he hadn't felt this complete, this happy, since before his marriage had fallen apart. The new year brought new possibilities. Emma's company was opening a green building division, and she offered Ian a position that would utilize his construction expertise while paying considerably more than his current job. At first he hesitated, concerned about nepotism, but Emma insisted the offer was based solely on his qualifications. I had our HR director review your resume without telling him of our connection, she assured him. He was impressed with your experience. The fact that I love you is just a bonus. By spring, Ian and Lily had moved into Emma's brownstone. The transition was smoother than Ian had anticipated, largely because Emma had gone out of her way to make them both feel at home. She converted her office into a bedroom for Lily, letting the girl choose the colors and decorations, and cleared space in the master bedroom for Ian's modest wardrobe. Are you sure you're okay with this? Ian asked one night as they prepared for bed. Your life was so uncluttered before we came along with all our stuff and noise. Emma looked up from her book with surprise. Uncluttered, Ian, my life was empty, now it's full, there's a difference. In June, nearly a year after their first meeting at the gas station, Ian took Emma back to the Gas and Go. She laughed as he pulled into the lot. The Honda Civic, which he had kept despite Emma's, offers to help him upgrade, looking as out of place beside the gleaming Tesla charging stations as it had that first rainy night. Feeling nostalgic? She asked as they got out. Something like that, Ian replied, taking her hand and leading her to the exact spot where they had met. This is where my life changed. Mine too, Emma said softly. Ian took a deep breath, his heart hammering. Emma, this past year has been the best of my life. You've brought so much joy to me and Lily, and somehow, miraculously, you seem to feel the same way about us. Emma's eyes widened as Ian reached into his pocket and lowered himself to one knee. I never expected to find love again, especially not with someone as extraordinary as you. But here we are. He opened the small box to reveal a ring modest by her standards, perhaps, but selected with careful thought. Emma Northcott, will you marry me? Yes, Emma answered without hesitation, tears spilling down her cheeks. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As they kissed, oblivious to the curious stares of gas station patrons, Ian marveled at the strange, wonderful path that had led them here. A random act of kindness on a rainy night had changed everything. Their wedding was a blend of their worlds, intimate and personal, held in the garden of a small country inn, with Lily serving proudly as flower girl. Emma's business associates were surprised by her choice of a regular guy, but anyone who saw them together understood. They fit in the way that true partners do, each making the other stronger, happier, more complete. 2 years later, Emma gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, who joined 7-year-old Lily as the center of their universe. Ian marveled at how naturally Emma took to motherhood, despite her demanding career. She scaled back her hours, delegated more responsibilities, and found a balance that allowed her to be present for all 3 children while still leading her company. On the twins' first birthday, as they watched the babies smear cake across their high chairs while Lily helped by adding more frosting to the mess, Ian pulled Emma close. "Happy?" he asked, though he already knew the answer from the contentment in her eyes. "Ridiculously so," Emma confirmed, resting her head against his shoulder. "Who would have thought that getting stranded at a gas station would be the best thing that ever happened to me?" "I'm just glad I stopped to help," Ian said, pressing a kiss to her temple. "Best decision I ever made." As their family grew and changed, the love that had sparked that rainy night only deepened. Emma's wealth provided opportunities and security, but the true richness in their lives came from the family they had built together, a family founded not on money or status, but on kindness, understanding, and the simple willingness to help a stranger in need.